Welcome to RMM Help. In this session we include an overview of the audit facility in RMM. The audit facility is in administration and we take audit. Only supervisors can view audit and we use it to identify who did what and when. The audit facility records every change to the RMM database, and I'll refer to these changes as transactions, and that's recorded in a completely separate SQL Server database. So this gives a very high level of accountability for the quality of our data, and therefore if users share their logins, which is not recommended, your audit details will lack impact. Transactions comprise of three activities, and although the system is opened here by audit list by activity, I'm going to open the full audit list at this point. We don't recommend that you use this on a regular basis because this actually opens every single transaction that's been recorded historically. So if you think of an acute hospital that's maybe recording 20,000 jobs a year and updating each of those jobs maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe 10,000 assets, we have the potential to be recording millions of transactions. So when we open the full audit list, we are potentially going to open several million records. In our instance, in our trimmed down data, we've only got 1/3 of a million records. So the full audit list only has a limited number of predefined fields, but our transaction types are listed down here, and they are additions shown as ADD, deletions shown as DEL, and adjustments shown as ADJ, and adjustments are any changes in addition to additions and deletions. So if you change the description of an asset, that is recorded in the database, and it will show the old value and the new value. Every transaction in the system has a date and time field that's automatically stamped. It also shows the username, it shows the data table, and then we have on every single list we have this narrative column, and the narrative basically shows the transaction details. So it would list in there whether it's, for instance, if I pass the mouse over that, you can see our pop-up message, that's a deletion. If I look at the addition beneath it, it says that was inserted, so that's an addition. And then if I look at an adjustment, it says that a model was changed, model detail was changed. So that's a quick view of all of the transactions, and we're now in a position where we could use the more regularly used one, which would be audit list by activity. But just before we do that, let's change something. Let's change an asset record, change some details, and then we can audit the transaction. So for the sake of this, I'll go into my asset ID 5, and so that we can see text changing, we've got an Optimus portable infrared heater, and I'll put in there changed for audit so that we'll be able to see that. We'll also notice that there's no supplier, so we'll put in Caldwell's Heating and Plumbing. There's no condition. We know that this is operationally safe, so we'll give it a condition B. We know that it's a main supply, so we'll put that in. We could change our funding source, say it's a capital purchase, and our CE mark, it's earth fused, and at that point we can save the record and then go back and audit the changes. However, where we've done a supplier, for instance, that will only show the supplier ID. So what I'll do is I'll delete this text here so that we can see some text changing in there, and I'll delete that and I'll put in there changed for audit presentation, and again I'll save that. So once the record's saved, I'll go back to audit, administration, audit. The system automatically opens in our audit list by activity, and because we changed an asset register, an asset, we can look in the asset register table, which is here, and this opens in date sequence. So we changed asset ID 5, so we can see that automatically at the top of our list. As this list has a filter row at the top, we can use sort and filter on there, and of course there are separate how-to videos to show you how to do that. So let's have a look at that record for asset ID 5, and you can see that we've got the field name here, our old value and the new value, and all of the changes that we made are highlighted with this orangey colour row. So we changed the description of the asset, and we said we changed for audit. We put a new supplier ID in that didn't have one before. We now put supplier IDs D60. We changed our power, which didn't have a value, funding ID, and our classification. We put a condition, condition B, in there, and then you remember I changed the asset other details. I deleted all of that text and I put in there changed for audit presentation. So all of the changes are recorded, and then down at the bottom of our list we'll have the date and time, the audit date and time that it was changed. So here's today's date and time that I did that change. So clearly with additions and deletions we're not looking for those kind of changes. It will just show that the record was deleted. So mine says I modified the asset record, and that shows that every one of those changes was recorded. So the RMM development team are currently making changes to the data structures to cater for the new tablet version. So if you use audit and you can't find what you're searching for, please speak to RMM support. And this concludes the overview of the audit facility in RMM.